Welcome to the latest episode of the Stack Supplement Podcast, where we run down all of the top stories and exciting announcements shared on our website from the past 7 days. And as I say every episode, because this is entirely the truth and this is what we do here at Stacked, it was a loaded week. It was packed full of excitement, packed full of fun, new innovations, new products, flavors, you name it, it was there. It's what we do, and we bring it together on our site over at stack.com, or if you want to say stack3d.com. You can do whatever you want, I don't really mind, we all know where to go. But the week was definitely busier thanks to the Clash of the Cairns. For those tuning in or missed the announcement or aren't quite sure what's going on, Clash of the Cairns is our energy drink style competition where we go, where we take as many energy drinks as possible and we get everyone to vote on them. And it's one of the things that we do. So we have top lists, if that makes sense. So we have best of lists, where we get our favorite 5 pre-workouts, our favorite 5 multivitamins, muscle builders, fat burners, you name it, we do it. We also do our favorite tasting energy drinks. It's a very more straightforward thing, but we created the Clash of the Cairns, and it's the same reason we created Protein Wars, is just because we wanted, everyone's so passionate, everyone loves their own energy drink for whatever reason. You could say that this energy drink is better than that energy drink because of its branding or because of its ingredients. But the next person might say, I don't give a shit about either of those. I like the logo, the colors, the flavors, whatever it is. And that's the cool thing about it. It's one of those rare categories that we touch on that just people are so diverse and passionate about. And I mean, if you look in the comments, so last week was the semifinals round, and we had 4 energy drinks, Chris Bumstead's Bum Energy versus Rise Fuel, and C4 Energy versus Monster Ultra. And people were sort of saying things like, oh, should be up there, this one isn't deserving. And to be honest, if I didn't get those comments, I would be extremely disappointed, because that is why we do it. At the heart of it all, that is why we do it, because of that diversity. If everyone in the comments was like, oh my God, this is exactly the one that should be there, then there'd be no reason to do this, because you all love the same one. But it's that journey to find the one that's liked the most with people and their opinions and passions and stuff like that. And obviously our audience isn't necessarily a good reflection of the general public, because we're very sports nutrition based. It's a fun contest, and at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. And I love it. I love seeing the reactions, the passion. Everybody loves their energy drink for whatever reason, and it's reflected in this contest. And yeah, we had a pretty good mix in the semifinals, but after tens of thousands of votes and 3 rounds, we are down to 2. The remaining 2, and this is pretty big because I'll tell you why in a second. So the grand finalists are C4 Energy versus Rise Fuel. So C4 Energy, the first winner of the Clash of the Cairns back in 2019, so they took the first ever title. A little known fact, we did a 3D printed trophy because it was cheaper. We don't make money off, we never make money off these things. Like, it was just a competition to run, and the trophy was obviously on our own dime, and so we did the 3D printed one, and we saw. I feel sorry because it's not bad, but it's not the greatest, at least compared to the one we have now, which, as I've shown previously, is about 4 or 5 pounds, maybe 6. It's heavy as shit. And it's custom cast. So it's a cast iron, it's made of bronze, I think, maybe iron. I can't remember. It's heavy. It's cast in a mold, and so each of them, because of the way it's made, each of them is different. So none of them are identical, because it's not like a 3D printed detailed thing. Each of them will have its own little kind of difference. And this year we're actually making it silver on a white base. That has no base, but yeah, so C4 is the first one. It was a 3D printed resin, if I'm not mistaken, not very heavy, but we had to do something. So yeah, so C4 up against Rise Fuel, and Rise Fuel was almost in the competition last year, but they weren't released in time. So we have a rule of you've got to be on the market for about 30 days or more, and they weren't, so they didn't make it, but they're in there this year, and they're in with a chance, taking on C4, which this should be one hell of a showdown. I look forward to it, but the thing is that makes this whole thing very interesting. It's not that it's a well-established sports nutrition beverage versus a newcomer, is that in the middle of last week, it was Chris Bumstead's Bum Energy. So we do a live update in the middle of the week for each round, usually. Sometimes we do 2. Very rarely we do two. But yeah, it was Chris Bumstead's Bum Energy versus Ricefield, and they were leading. Bum Energy was leading, and Monster Ultra was beating C4. And we've done these competitions. Protein Wars is on its 11th. This is the 5th, so we've done 16 of these contests. We've seen a lot of these. We know all the things to look for and watch and whatnot. But they were leading. Bum was leading, and Monster Ultra was leading. And I think it was around Friday, maybe Saturday, it took a turn. Both C4 and Rise overtook them. I don't know if like they were gradually. It would make sense if they were gradually catching up since Wednesday, because that's when we shared the live update, and then they just pushed over them on Friday, Saturday, and won. And they are our grand finalists, which I thought was really cool. Usually the guy winning in the middle of the week tends to be the winner at the end, usually. But not only did it happen in one round, it happened in both of them, both of the groups. And now we have, C4, potentially the second two-time winner. And then we have Rise, a fresh new face in the sports beverage category. So I'm excited to see how this goes. If you haven't voted already, head to clashoftheCans.com. It takes like 30 seconds, a minute. Anyone who's asking if where the capture is, where the sort of security check is, we did a little bit different this year. There's a capture on page entry, so it'll prompt you if it thinks you're, being a bit dodgy. But previously, it would prompt you if, like, once you click the vote thing. So this does it to everyone on page entry. Anyone asking about that, that's how that works. So yeah, best of luck to the energy drinks. I think they're both pretty solid competitors. Interestingly, both do authentic flavor collaborations, and may the most voted energy drink win. So yeah, thank you for that. We'll shoot over now to our regular updates. I'm going to kick things off with news from Arnold. So Arnold Sports Festival is obviously going down next year in March 1st to 3rd, first week of March. Now, a little known fact was that last year the Arnold happened in September, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was end of September, whatever, around there. I don't think it's happening this year. I don't actually know, but the Arnold announced that they are bringing back the Arnold Sports Festival to the UK 2 weeks after the Arnold US, which is a pretty big deal to have them back to back. Not only will it be a good, I guess, a strategy for bodybuilders entering the prestigious bodybuilding show, as if you're in shape for the US, you've got 2 weeks to make it to the UK. But yeah, it's a big deal to have just two major expos side by side. It's pretty cool, to be honest. I'm hitting both. The Arnold I went to last year was pretty damn cool. Much more diverse than the US one that I remember. And by diverse, I mean you got supplement companies, functional foods, drinks. There was a donut company there, apparel, gym equipment, a whole bunch of things. And the US one is diverse too, but there's still a lot of supplement companies that go to that one. So pretty cool to see that announced, that you have this back-to-back show. It does make it easier. Mostly for me, like if you're already in the UK, if you're already in Columbus, it's not too far to go to the UK, whereas like if it's 6 months apart, because last year the Arnold was in March, and then the UK one was in September, so it's a big leap. But yeah, we'll be hitting both. Anyone going, let me know. Look forward to seeing you there. And yeah, the dates, for those after specific dates, it's 15th to the 17th in the UK. And as with any major expo that happens in the UK, this is going down at the NEC in Birmingham, which, yeah, great place, great gyms. Always looking forward to events like that. And yeah, anyone going, we look forward to seeing you there. Next up, we're going to shoot to Muscle Nation in Australia. So Muscle Nation started with sports nutrition supplements. Well, to be honest, Muscle Nation originally started as an apparel company, very popular apparel company that expanded into supplements. Very just your typical categories. I think it was pre-workout, fat burner, might have been a protein, and an amino. I think there was a pump. I mean, those are all there now, but those had to be some of the earliest. But yeah, so they've been around for a while. They started out in supplements, but since that beginning, they've gone so many different directions, and most impressively, they took a dive into functional foods, which is not an easy category to do well in, let alone come up with something different. So they did the custard protein bar, which wasn't anything new, so it wasn't new in terms of today, but it was relatively impressive when it launched. I think it was like a couple of years ago, because it has like a custard filling down the top center, and then it's got like a gooey layer on top of that. And they were very difficult to get a hold of. Muscle Nation is an Australian company, but more importantly, these bars are only in Coles, like supermarkets. So it was, I did eventually try it. Was it earlier this year? Got to say, pretty damn good job. That thing is custardy as you would have expected with a name like Custard. But either way, the news we have today or last week was that they've come out with another rather intriguing snack called the jelly protein bar. So very similar how you have the custard protein bars, got like a base layer, then I guess like a custard filling or row down the top, and then a gooey top. This has a base layer, then a huge thick layer of jelly. And it does indeed look like jelly. And if the custard protein bar is anything to go off, where you got like a custard name and it actually tastes like custard in terms of taste and texture, I suspect they nailed the shit out of this jelly thing. I have no reason to believe they didn't, especially when they're using the word jelly. The pictures look great. I'm down to try it. But yes, you got a base layer, jelly top, all wrapped in white or milk chocolate, and then one of the flavors has coconut on top. I get the lemon coconut. It is worth noting the protein isn't drastically high on this thing. The custard protein bar has a good amount of protein. This one has 6.8, which isn't much. It is a small bar at 40 grams, so it's not your traditional 60. In saying that, if you were to scale up, like 40 grams is 66% of a 60 gram bar. So I guess if you added 50% to scale up the size, that's still not much protein. It's still like 10 grams. But as with all snacks, I'm willing to give it a try, purely because I like to do things, like to try things a bit different. And yeah, so we're gonna the next story we're gonna go to comes from Pixel. Now this is a Swedish functional beverage brand. If you weren't aware, in fact, if you're listening to this, you already know. Over at Stacked, we share news from brands from all over the place. We get companies reaching out from Brazil, Belgium, Poland, Japan, Australia. It's all over the place. Majority of them are American, but even though we have a majority of our readers are US based or North American based, and majority of the brands that set the tone and do well are again North American, the sheer numbers of brands out there is ridiculous. It's always great to hear, and even when companies reach out to us in different languages, it's crazy that they find importance to be on there. But we put ourselves out there, try and cover news and exciting updates from everywhere, every brand in the world. And yeah, Pixel is out of Sweden, and it's an energy drink geared towards gamers. So it's not a supplement company that does it's not a gaming company that does supplements. It is just an energy drink that markets itself towards gamers, hence the name Pixel, makes sense, but it is spelled PXL, pronounced Pixel. So they launched not that long ago, but they're in the news this week because they've done an authentic flavor collaboration. They partnered with Square Enix, the maker of the ridiculously legendary role-playing game, video game, Final Fantasy. So the next entry in the series coming up is Final Fantasy XVI. It's launching on June 22nd. And so they have partnered with the game. Pixel's partnered with the game to do a special edition flavor of its energy drink called, I don't know if I'm going to butcher the name. I'm going to say Apollon Alexa. It's E-I-K-O-N. That's how I'm going to say it. Yeah, so it's an Apollon Alexa flavor for their same energy drink that they already had available in 2 flavors. It does have a description, thankfully. It is blueberry and raspberry. It has all of the same highlights, no sugar, low calories, and 200 milligrams of caffeine. So yeah, that one's rolling out. It's not rolling out until June 21st, so the day before the game goes live. That is when it'll be available for purchase. However, you can pre-order directly through the brand's online store. You'll be able to get all that information. Just go to the site, type in PXL. It should be one of the first stories that pop up in search. And yeah, you'll pay $41.80 US for a case of 24. Now that does seem odd. I know this. I get this a lot. In Europe, a lot of energy drinks come in cases of 24. Did I say 48? I think that's, either way, I meant to say 24. So a lot of energy drinks come in cases of 24. In the US, it's very common to have the pack of 12, the pack of a dozen. Makes sense. But in Europe, it's usually 24. 24 is more common than 12. But they do come with great value. Like I said, $40 for an energy drink at 24 cans, versus most energy drinks in the US, I would say sit around from 25 to 35. Some of the more complex ones get up to 35. Gorilla Mines is 35, and that's for 12. So you're getting twice as much for not twice the price. But yeah, the cooler thing about that product is that the packaging looks damn cool. Check it out on the site. It's a pretty sweet thing. So they've incorporated the design and characters and themes from the video game and basically themed their energy drink branding around that for this specific flavor. So pretty cool little thing to check it out. But yeah, we're going to now keep the ball rolling on the updates. And you know what, we'll keep it in the energy drink space. And so Prime Energy has rolled out a new flavor. Prime has rolled out a new flavor for its energy drink, Prime Energy. Now, I stand by this when I said it in our review on Stacked. Prime Energy is damn delicious. If you haven't tried this thing, for me, it's overly sweet, but I'm of the mind that nothing can be too sweet. I mean, that's not entirely true, but generally the sweetest thing that people give to the public and try and offer out to a mass market isn't too sweet for me, if that makes sense. And Prime is definitely an energy drink on the sweeter side, like an over-the-top taste, like you want some apples, I'm gonna punch you in the face with it type thing. It's right there. I like it. I haven't had a problem with it. It would actually be in our top 5 tasting energy drinks. It would. The lemon lime was ridiculously good. Blue raspberry is good. I don't even traditionally like blue raspberry. I'm trying to remember the other one they had was strawberry watermelon was pretty on point. And the citrus was the one that went first, the orange one. That was gone in a heartbeat. I didn't like the fruit punch because it was more cherry than your traditional tropical fruity cocktail. But with that said, it's probably an on-point cherry, I would say. But yeah, those flavors are damn killer. I would have it in my top 5 tasting energy drinks, but I need more flavors. Let's just put it this way. If there was an energy drink out there that had 10 good flavors, but then there was another one that had one ridiculously good flavor, I'd give it to the 10, just purely because I like diversity. When I buy energy drinks, I don't typically buy the same flavor every month for the whole year. I like to mix it up. I like to have options, and that's what Prime's up against in this category. We've got Monster Ultra with God knows how many flavors, over 10. Gorilla Mind just launched with 4, already dropped the 5th, and planning to do one every month for the next 12 months. But yeah, so Prime has got a new flavor for the Prime Energy drink, and it isn't completely new. It is one from the Prime Hydration lineup in Ice Pop. So the classic red, white, and blue. All of the same taste that you've got in, I guess, the hydration drink with cherry, lime, and blue raspberry. So I just double check to make sure. And all the same ingredients as well. Now they are launching this in the US. So they said they launched it in the US last week when we posted about it. I haven't yet to see like a GNC or vitamin shop with it in stock. We will be posting it when we do, just because I've had a lot of people ask. And then it's meant to be going into the UK next week, I believe. Sorry, not next week, this month. Yeah, this month. I don't know exactly when, and it is important to know that because the energy drink has a different formula in the UK than it does in the US, specifically lower caffeine. But yeah, the whole point of it is still pretty much the same, to give you a nice dose of energy. So yeah, it'll be interesting. It's good to see them add. I would like to see more flavor innovation, but I understand their Prime Hydration drink is ridiculously successful. So I don't imagine them going too wild on flavor innovation on the energy drink that's only 4 or 5 months old. It's likely to be more focused on the Prime Hydration. I don't blame them, but I could easily foresee them breaking into our top 5 tasting energy drinks with more great flavors, and I will try this Ice Pop as soon as I can. The next story we've got puts us over to Performax Labs, one of my favorites, one of my long-time favorites, and a little known fact. Performax Labs, now I'm not counting, but I'm pretty sure I don't need to. Performax Labs has had more top 5 pre-workout placings than any other company out there. And that's purely because it's been able to do good shit for an incredibly long time. It wasn't like their current Hypermax is in our top 5 pre-workout list, And that's not like, that's this, I think maybe the 5th version that's been in there. They have nailed it from the first one. I think they might have been on there when we first made the list. And they've just been on there since. I don't think they ever fell off. Whenever they replaced it, they always came out with one that was just as good, if not better. And they just maintain their position. Sometimes they were once the best pre-workout on the market. I mean, now arguably they're still one of the best. It comes down to balance and stuff like that, but they kill it. And it's a reputable brand, killer brand, great brand, and they always do good stuff. And they carry that approach that they take in Hypermax with reliable ingredients, solid formulations, well put together benefits and stuff into other categories. Now, this past week, we got news on a product called Hyper3d. Now, in previous weeks, they did confirm the name, but we had no idea what the hell they were talking about. Now we've got all the details, everything you need to know. Hyper3d is in fact a shot. It is a pre-workout shot from Performax. First time they've done a beverage, but most interestingly, it uses 3D pump. So as far as I know, this is the first time 3D pump's been in a beverage. And you get 6 grams of 3D pump per drink. And then it's 300 milligrams of caffeine and B vitamins. So 300 milligrams of caffeine for energy, and then B vitamins. Very simple, very straightforward formula. Pretty much, I mean, a nice split. You got the caffeine for energy and focus, a good amount, and then you've got 3D pump for pumps. It's pretty solid go-to thing, and it all comes in a shot. So it's a 2-ounce shot. Throw it down, you're good to go. With pre-workout RTDs and drinks, you're never going to get the loaded formulas you get in a pre-workout, but keep in mind, as I just said, Performax has one of the best pre-workouts out there in Hypermax. So, you know, if you want to trade your convenience, they've got now an equally competitive option. As far as I know, like I said, 3D Pump's not in a beverage, and they've kept it nice and simple, to the point, and if you need something on the go, on the fly, Hyper3d is worth a shot. Yeah, you can check it out on the site. I think it's launching, I'm not sure if it's launching soon. I can't remember. I know it's in the coming weeks it'll be available. You better pick it up on Performax's site. And if they're anything like they previously are, they'll be launching this with a deal, like a nice little discount. I don't know what it is, but every time they've launched a new product, maybe in the last few years, they've had some sort of limited time deal or discount so you can get your hands on it at a good price. Give it a try and see if you like it. The story we're going to round off with, and this is a big one, this is a cool one, comes from Apollon Nutrition and Panda Supplements. Now, I'm a big fan of anything cool. That's 100% what we've done throughout the journey of Stacked. Anytime we can do something cool, we've done it. And I did mention this previous, that's very relevant to what we're doing or what we're announcing at our Stacked Expo in 6 weeks. You want to see something super badass, you make sure you tune into that, because Stacked has its own little secret lined up for that, and I'm extremely excited. Most significant thing we've done in years. But anyway, that's neither here or there. Apollon Nutrition and Panda Supplements have come together to create a special edition pre-workout. So collaborations between brands is not common, but it has been done. Black Market was the first to do it with Inspired. Then they've done a few others since then. Black Market then teamed up with American Metabolics. I cannot remember the other one. Oh, Black Market just teamed up with Panda just recently as well. So they've done a few of them. We obviously got the big one from Raw Nutrition and Ghost. Trying to remember, there have been a few. There was just the one in the UK as well. Was it Strom and, oh, this is going to bug the shit out of me, the Unicorn Piss one. Strom and, anyway, they teamed up with another supplement company, and a Combat Fuel. I was sitting on the top of my mind. They did a collaboration between each other where they basically did Strom's Unicorn Piss flavor for a Combat Fuel supplement. Pretty cool little partnership. But anyway, so Panda and Apollon have come together and they've made a pre-workout, and it's pretty cool. I like it when you see this sort of stuff. Anytime you can get some sort of variation, some sort of, not necessarily variation, I guess is the word, maybe some sort of innovation might be a better way to go. Anytime you can get some sort of innovation where a company can put together something different, I love to see it. And by that I mean like premium pre-workouts are a great way to go. Like when a brand sells a pre-workout for $40, they're limited on what they can put in there. they do their best to stand out, but they can realistically not do as much as they can if they're going to make a pre-workout that sells for 60 or even 80 or even 100. And that's where you start to see some different stuff. That's what I like to see. And collaborations are that. You get to see two brands come together to do something that they just wouldn't do by themselves. They're incorporating two styles here. And that's what we've got with the Panda and Apollon pre-workout called Face Off. So it is typically the pre-workouts that we've seen, or the collaborations we've seen, where we've got Raw and Ghost. It was sort of like a merger of Ghost's Legend pre-workout and Raw's Savage pre-workout, with Inspired and Black Market's Devastate Stim. Same thing, you had a mix of Devastate from Inspired and Stim from Black Market. Panda and Apollon's Face Off is a little bit different. So they told me that Panda basically took not the lead, but they were kind of the driver behind the marketing, the hype and the branding, and then the formulation was pretty much Apollon. Now, when you see the formula, you'll understand that that makes perfect sense. Because they packed the shit out of this thing. You are looking at 8 grams of citrulline for pumps. I'm going to rattle off all of it because it's well worth mentioning. 2.5 betaine, 2 grams of tyrosine for focus, 3.5 beta-alanine, a gram of lion's mane, the nootropic mushroom extract to help with focus, 800 milligrams of alpha-GPC, why not, 33% more than the usual 600. Erigerensis, what else we got in there? Pink Himalayan salt for hydration and performance. 3 sources of caffeine provided, combined, I think it's just shy of 600 milligrams, which is sort of like a signature of Apollon's. N-methyltyramine, isopropanolnorepinephrine, alpha-yohimbine for a nice bit of intensity, and then you've got estrogen, of course, the ever-present estrogen, to improve absorption and efficacy at 50 milligrams a serving. So pretty loaded pre-workout. It is somewhat similar to Assassin in a way, but again, Apollon was the driving force behind the formula, so it's not surprisingly that you can sort of relate it back to Apollon. But also in saying that Apollon has a lot of different pre-workouts, so it would be hard to make one that wasn't related or similar to the many that they have. Pretty cool collaboration, limited edition, went live on Friday. So yeah, they announced it, revealed, release all in the same week. We got the formula on our site, and you can go to Apollon's website or go to Panda's website to pick it up. It's $65, I think. I'm trying to remember now. I think it is $65. I'm just going to double check. $60. $59.99 for a tub of 20 full servings in a flavor called Hooligan's Blood, which is nice and fitting. Obviously, Hooligan is one of Apollon's pre-workouts. And yeah, limited time, get it while you can, as they very much reinforce the fact that this is not coming back. That tends to happen with limited edition products. So if you want a nice piece of history, whether you're a fan of Panda or Apollon, get your hands on that thing. And yeah, once again, thank you for listening. We did also put up an interview last week with San Diego Sam, the one and only from Supplinks, the Japanese retailer, who kind of kindly sat down with us and took us through the I guess the intricacies of the Japanese market, the growing, fast-growing Japanese market. And I will note that the audio was perfect, as expected, but the video we recorded, I think we hadn't really recorded a video in an interview before, and sucked ass. So we will be doing our best to sort of up it, bear with us, we'll try. But I think it's still pretty good on a phone and relatively reasonable on a computer. But yeah, check that out. We're hoping to get another one this week or maybe next week. But we'll keep them kind of rolling on a consistent basis. And I know that we've always got people we like to chat to. We actually don't interview the same person twice. I think it's only happened with Jim McMahon from Mutant. And if you listen to one of those on our podcast on Spotify, you'll understand why. The man is fantastic to talk to. But yeah, thank you for listening. Look forward to having you back next time. And yeah, be sure to stay locked in and visiting every day, twice a day, stack.com.